Hello everybody, my name is Zool, and welcome to episode 1 of Modding Dragon Age Origins. In today's episode, I'm going to be covering Improved Atmosphere. So what is Improved Atmosphere? Well, when playing Dragon Age, have you ever been disappointed by the lack of life in town? Were you bothered by how boring most of the ambient NPCs were? How some of them didn't move? Were you disappointed in the lack of variation in your starting equipment and your origins? Did you want to change pretty much every single aspect of the items in the game? Well, Improved Atmosphere is for you. This is a mod that just improves the overall atmosphere, I guess, that's a pretty lame way to say it, of the game, and it is extremely customizable. This mod is huge, and if I were to attempt to cover everything, we would be here for hours. I mean, there's a module just for items, for the characters, for the areas, for the starting origins. You can have only the elf origin be changed and leave the dwarf one intact, or vice versa. You can add in ambient NPCs walking around and making the towns look more lively, or you cannot. You can remove the weapon VFX close. You can add new speeches at the very end of the game. Be what it is, Improved Atmosphere pretty much touches on a lot of everything. This does lead to some compatibility problems, but don't worry because I'm going to be covering 2 ways for you to install this mod. If you are very interested in the exact details of what this mod does, I highly recommend you head over to the mods page and check it out for yourself, because there's no way I'm going to be able to cover it. So without further ado, let's get to the first bit of the installation. In order to install Improved Atmosphere, head on to the link in the description for Improved Atmosphere and navigate over to the File tab. From here, you're going to want to download the main file manually. It is a rather large file, so this could take a little bit of time, so just be aware of that. There's also an update file available. It is compatibility patches for the following mods right here. Now, we are going to be using some of these in our tutorial series as things go on, but I'm not going to download this patch right now, although if you plan on using any of these mods, you might as well download it. There's also one more thing I'd recommend doing while you're on the mods page, and that's scroll down until you find the link here to the Readme. And in fact, I'm going to do a direct link to the Readme in the description. This Readme is very important because Improved Atmosphere is a huge, very complex mod, as you can see here. There is a lot of different places, a lot of different files. Basically, you can install this mod in tons of different ways, and I'm only going to be covering 2 configurations. I'm going to be covering the full configuration and the basic configuration. Basic configuration is the one that I'm going to be using for this series to continue, so if you want to install mods in the next episode and have some more things, we're just going to use the basics so we have a lot of compatibility. If you don't want to install a lot of mods, you just want Improved Atmosphere and maybe a couple of small little mods that you have compatible with it, we're going to do the full installation, and that's going to be later on in this video. So now that I got that out of the way, let's go to our desktop. Drag the file you downloaded to your desktop. You can see I have it right here, IA 2.0, blah, 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 and extract it using an archiving tool like WinRAR or 7-zip. As you can see, I've done that already. I've also gone and created a folder, a brand new empty folder called Basic Setup. And we're going to be using this folder to create the basic version of this mod. So let's open up Improved Atmosphere. You'll see there's a folder in here. So we'll drag that off to the side and we'll open it up again. Then I'm going to open up my empty folder called Basic Setup. And again, this is for the basic setup of the mod. This leads to the maximum amount of compatibility. However, you're not going to get all the features. So just keep that in mind. And again, you can read the Readme for more information. So in order to install the basic setup, we're going to essentially be deleting a lot of files from this and then dragging them over to our basic setup folder. The very first thing we need to bring over the animations. That's 1.1 here, so we don't need materials, tints, and items, so we can just go ahead and delete those. And then inside animations, everything here appears to be good, so I will pull out and I will drag over global, just the animations are there. Next up, we need to bring over a couple of things from the modules section. We're going to need the areas, they're very important. We're going to need the conversations, and we're going to need the scripts. We don't need the merchants or the rewards. And I believe I said areas, conversations, and scripts. So we don't need the characters, and we don't need the placeables. So we'll have these 3 here, and again, we'll just drag that over to our basic setup folder. What we have now is the basic setup. However, there is a couple of other options we can throw in there, and I personally like to go ahead and do that. The first of which is the dialog changes. I like the dialog changes, which are available in companions, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the other option, and I'm going to bring over the companions folder. We can also actually bring over the extras folder. Everything except for the modified item properties, so I can delete these, which allows us to have some pretty cool things like the VFX remover, the body stay, and the other things like that. So we'll bring over the extras. Everything else we don't need, so we can just leave it in this folder or delete it. And again, all of this information is available in the Readme. Now that we have all those folders brought over to our brand new basic setup folder, we need to rename this folder. You can do that by clicking on it and hitting F2, and we want it to be called Improved Atmosphere. The best way to make sure you've spelled everything perfectly is to go into your other Improved Atmosphere folder, go ahead and copy that, and then you can just go ahead and select this folder, hit F2, and paste it right there. Now that we've renamed our mod, we are going to need to install it via an override install. In the first episode, we covered DA Modder, and that's how you install a lot of mods, but not everything. An Improved Atmosphere is a little bit different. It needs to be installed in your override folder. To get to your override folder, you need to go to your documents. This doesn't matter where you've installed the game, no matter what, it's going to be in C Documents. From there, you're going to find a folder called BioWare. Then you're going to open up Dragon Age, Packages, Core, Override, and you'll see this is empty right now. Now what we can do is go ahead and drag the files and bring them into the game. So simply grab the Improved Atmosphere folder, drag it, and drop it, and it's now in your override folder. Don't worry, the override folder does work nicely with these menus here, so you should be good to go. Now, that's how you install the basic package for Improved. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching my video on Improved Atmosphere. However, there is a little bit more to say about this mod. We did cover the basic setup in today's video, but the basic setup isn't for everyone, and I did promise to cover the full setup as well. And we're going to be doing that in a different video. I've kind of decided to break things off, so if you want to continue with the tutorial as is, ignore this last part of the video and just skip on to episode 2, I think that's the next one. And you can just keep following the videos from there, building on top of this basic setup. However, for some of our more advanced users, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to split this into kind of a B path. So I'm going to be making episode 1B, where we install much more of Improved Atmosphere, and this is kind of an alternate pathway, so it's not going to be compatible with some of the mods we covered later on, perhaps episode 3 or 4 or something like that. I don't know because I haven't made those videos yet. But just be aware that if you take the B path, you could run into compatibility issues, but you're going to have a lot more cool stuff from Improved Atmosphere, so stick around for that. I'll try and remember to throw a link in the description.